I'm Nicole Parks, and this is my reflection on my instructional design process. I thought I would just summarize the objectives I asked my kids to work towards in this unit. They were asked to demonstrate an understanding of how to properly sequence events and how to properly apply sequencing words. Overall, I was very happy with their progress during this unit. Though it did take a little longer, we needed to slow things down a bit more than I was anticipating. How do the tasks yield appropriate evidence of the identified understandings? So my ELL students do have very specific academic and language needs, and they vary from all over the board. I only have 4 students at a time in my class, but they are each very, very different as their language development needs go. So I would say that I saw the evidence of their understandings because I regularly assessed them on those. Then I kind of formed our future instruction upon the needs I observed during those assessments. How do the tasks involve a complex real-world or authentic application of these identified skills and understandings? I believe it was through practical applications that my students were able to make some more real connections to this learning. And a specific example of this is when the kids were asked to summarize their own morning routines. So they really had to reflect upon their personal life and then incorporate the sequencing words to that. Another example of an authentic task was when they got to observe and interview our dog trainer in our building. So we have a service dog in our building. So they got to observe the service dog, and they got to interview the trainer as well. That was a definite real world experience for them, to where they could really apply those sequencing words and get some sequencing practice, practical practice. We did make some good connections, even though COVID shut us down sooner than I thought we would be going into remote. So thankfully we were able to get through most of our unit, but I did push the deadline for their infographic presentations back because we are now full remote in our district. I did want to add, though, that I feel like my students were challenged in more complex ways through those infographic presentations. I do feel like that's going to require some good process, some major application of what we've been learning. And I do refer to the DOK guide, my web's DOK guide, to help really kind of push their depth of knowledge, and that I think hits my complexity in my lesson planning. Let's see what else we have here. How are a variety of appropriate assessment formats used to provide additional evidence of learning? I do regularly assess. I use exit tickets in the form of just simple questions at the end of our lessons. I also closely monitor them during their independent work times, and I offer supportive feedback as well. The main formative assessments are the rubrics that we were using through this unit. I asked them to get those out often and use it as a checklist just to ensure they know their expectations. And then I would just ask them, so where is this? Show me this portion of your assignment. And so that was a good way to really identify through those assessments that they were learning these objectives and knew the purpose. How are students given the opportunity to self-assess and reflect upon their learning and performance? They were reminded, like I said, to utilize the rubrics. Think of them as their to-do list. This resource could also be thought of as their checklist. Students were often working in small groups, and I feel like this was definitely a time to reflect with peers in a more comfortable and supportive way they could dialogue with one another. I feel like that was a big way for them to self-reflect and then be able to share that comfortably. That is my presentation, and thank you for listening.